feminine energy is supposed to flow. Feminine energy must be lubricated. So part of cup theory is this. When a woman's cup is full, self-love, validation, self-esteem, security, like within herself, she's going to be properly lubricated for masculine energy. It's going to be properly lubricated for it. Women adopt masculine energy on their own to protect themselves when they don't see any strong masculinity around them. It's what they do. And it typically works in the form of either a gentleman gigolo complex. That's usually how it works. So there's different ways it can work. When a woman's cup is low, like I said before in another video, when a cup is really low, it's usually at a place where she desires a beta male, because she's not lubricated enough for big dick energy. You get what I'm saying? So big dick energy is like, when you think about feminine energy, it's supposed to be malleable, form-fitting. It clings to you a little bit. It's wet, which is emotional. It's flowing. It goes with the flow. It's like water. It shapes something. It forms something. It's like some good pussy. That's what feminine energy is like, and it's beautiful to be around. But when a woman's cup is too low, she's dehydrated. When a woman's pussy can't get that wet, she's going to genuinely think that she prefers a small dick, or an average dick, or a smaller dick, because she's not lubricated or aroused enough to be able to expand and encompass more. She can't get any joy or pleasure out of a large dick, and the large dick is that big dick energy. Not the way feminists explain it. I'm talking about big dick energy as far as masculine energy being something that is strong, something that is large, somewhat intimidating, something exciting. You know what I mean? Not just something exciting, but it's something that's stiff, got just a little bit of bend to it, but it's soft to the touch. I mean, it's not ashy and shit. Right? And it might just curve its own way, but its function is to go into an environment and change the environment that it's in. It changes something. The pussy is sitting in this unrefined state. It's relaxed, or it's unbothered. Then once it gets aroused, a penis goes into it and it starts to change things. That's what happens. You're changing your surroundings. So you're not supposed to be malleable. But when a woman when she has a low cup, which is low self-esteem, insecurities, those different things, what will occur is she will need a man who has smaller dick energy. She will need a man who's more of a beta male. She will need a man who doesn't put an emphasis on his masculine energy, but on his ability to compensate, right? Because those compensations are things that fill her cup, right? So you need someone feminine. You need someone who's going to take you out on a bunch of dates, who's going to spend a lot of time, a lot of energy on you. You're going to need someone who is going to want to uplift you and to treat you with the utmost respect, to give you the validation that you're lacking within yourself, right? Because it's not really something that you plan to do with those things. You probably don't have a full direction, and you probably wouldn't respect a man who doesn't have a direction himself. If you develop your own direction, then you become masculine. And if you're not going to go all the way over to being masculine to a certain extent, like knowing how to lead and knowing how to be a proper dom, then you're just being a bad dom. You don't have proper leadership skills or the qualifications to be leading a relationship, because you still desire a man who's masculine. But it's just that desire for a man who's masculine is less masculine. But as he fills your cup up, guess what? This is how sexual polarity erosion can occur sometimes, but this is another thing. As he begins to fill your cup up with love and affection and attention and desire and respect and compromise, things that make you feel good about yourself, That's when you get to the place where now you're aroused and it's like you're ovulating. I've heard women say before that when they're ovulating, they like a much larger dick than they typically want when they're not ovulating, right? So now, not only did you go from a dry pussy, now it's a wet pussy, but that wet pussy ain't wet for the dude that you with, because his energy is not big dick energy. It's soft, it's wet, it's malleable, it's small, it's a little soft, slimy dick, flaccid, right? Because he's adopted your feminine traits. He's adopted feminine traits within himself to boost your ego, to make you feel good about yourself so that he can fuck you. But now you're fully aroused and you're looking at that little soft, flaccid, slimy dick, emotional dude, and you're not attracted to it. It doesn't arouse you. You know, that's a big part of how cup theory works. You know, feminine energy is like a pussy, masculine energy is like a dick. And the difference is this: if you are in a man-woman relationship and you're trying to establish masculine and feminine dynamics based off of your perspective gender, you're cisgendered and, you know, heterosexual and all that other shit. If that's your perspective, you gotta think about that. You gotta think about that. So, from that perspective, we go into saying this right here. When a woman's cup is too low, she's going to want a beta male because she can't handle an alpha male at that place. I'm going to explain what I mean by that. She can't handle an alpha male at that place. She can't handle an alpha male at that place because she's in survival mode. If she's dry, then it's going to be very painful for him to come in and change the surroundings. Because the thing about an alpha male, a strong masculine dominant man, is that he understands women. And when you understand women, something that can occur is this: a woman is not going to like that you understand women unless she's feminine and submissive with you. And she has to have enough stability mentally and emotionally, and enough self-esteem and security within herself to be feminine and submissive with you. You know, women run with this narrative that if a woman is submissive, it's because she's a downbeaten dog. That's not true. That's just a woman who's being abused. You know, being submissive is something that's empowering for a woman. It's empowering for men as well. It's more so just about having an idea and a mindset of forward movement. Also valuing the relinquishing of control or power exchange. It's about valuing being in your feminine energy and being fluid and being malleable and wanting to be a helpmate. It's about valuing that two people fighting against the world is better than two people fighting each other while the world is also fighting them. It's just like the parable of the fork in the road, right? Masculine, feminine dynamics, the parable of the fork in the road. As a man, you gotta want what you want more than you want the woman. As a woman, you gotta want your man more than you want what you want. It's just some real shit. Because as a man, you're supposed to have vision, you're supposed to have direction, you're supposed to have leadership, you're supposed to have direction and guidance. So you're heading in the direction you're going as a man. As you're heading in that particular direction, what you gotta understand is this: either the woman's gonna follow you or she's not. Either she's gonna follow you or she's not. If she follows you, right, of her own volition, then what she gets to do is this: she gets to look at you as a man who is greater than she is and desire and respect you and feel dominated and protected by you. Dominated, protected, guided, having a man she can look up to as daddy. Right? That's what she gets to have. And with that comes certain privileges. But something that can happen is you can stand in the middle of the road where the fork is and not move forward. Life is moving on without you. Stand in the middle of the road, she's not going to respect you because life is going to move on without you, and she's going to jump on another road, right? You can go with her on her road, but it's a single file line. So you're going to have to walk behind her. And then she's going to look for a man who she can follow, or a vision that she can follow, or something that's bigger than her. Right? Or you two can go separate ways. And those are really the only options there. Something that can happen is this. When a woman's cup is too low and she's dealing with a dominant masculine man, because he understands her and because he changes an environment when he comes into it, if her cup is too low, it will feel like abuse. If her cup is too low, it's going to tear at who she is. Because if she associates her social programming with her identity, right? If her social programming is something that she identifies as herself, and she doesn't have enough security or self-esteem or enough in her cup to be able to empty her cup, to take a step back and look at life and not associate her identity and her self-worth with those things outside of herself. If you come in there and you shake the wrong foundation, then it's going to be devastating to her mental health. It's going to be devastating to the foundation of who she is as a person. She is going to have certain fears to where it's going to create self-fulfilling prophecies with you as a masculine dominant man. It's going to create self-fulfilling prophecies. Right? Self-fulfilling prophecies. That's what that shit's going to do. Because what you got to understand is that when you come into an environment as a masculine dominant man and you start changing it up, and then you also have an understanding of relationships and women and mindsets and ideas, and you look at things from a different perspective because you have your own way of viewing life because you're a man. When you have your own way of viewing life that counteracts with social programming, if she doesn't have enough in her cup to get on your program, then she's going to be tearing at the fibers of who she is as a person to try to assimilate herself with you as much as possible, right? But like I said before, a woman can't fully appreciate a man pouring into her cup unless she met the standard of pouring into his. Unless a woman feels like she truly deserves what you're doing for her, you doing too much for her is going to make her feel unsafe. Right? Because she almost feels like she doesn't know what you want in return, or she feels like she can't give you what you want in return, and then that starts to make her feel guilty. And then she'll try anyways. And that puts pressure on her. That puts a lot of pressure on her. So let's say a woman is in that position and you're able to break down things, certain social constructs, certain understandings about how men and women should deal with each other, certain religious perspectives, certain philosophical, political perspectives, and break that shit down on a different level. She may not be able to intellectually fully handle that because she may be used to kind of more of a sheep mentality. Not completely a sheep mentality, but kind of just the mainstream thought process and traditional thought process of the way things are quote unquote supposed to go. But she identifies her self-worth and her value with those things. So as those foundations begin to shake, she may start experiencing anxiety, she may start experiencing depression, and she's going to blame you for those things. Because really what's going on is she just doesn't respect or desire you enough, or doesn't truly respect your leadership as a man enough, and doesn't have enough in her cup to question her beliefs, and she doesn't have enough desire and excitement just right at that moment to be willing to throw caution to the wind. And she has to use her masculine energy to protect herself. So shaking that ground of that masculine energy, which is her social programming down, she's not going to have enough within herself to be able to handle that. It's going to tear at the fabric of who she is as a person. That's where you see a lot of relationships where after a woman deals with a man who's masculine and dominant, and some men who aren't, she's going to say that the man was abusive, or he was controlling or he was manipulative, because she was in a place in her life where she didn't have enough of a voice within herself to be able to voice the things that she wanted or didn't want. So the one place she feels like she wants to have a voice is in the relationship. And that's just, that's something that happens. It's something that happens. And that really a lot of times that's how premature integration works. But when you're looking at just this whole idea of masculine and feminine energy, when a woman's cup gets full, and she either accomplishes that through beta males or through abstinence and spirituality. As her cup gets full, if it's full enough and she can trust a man, and she has enough of her cup to be willing to question herself and question things and her beliefs and her stances, she'll get to the place where she has enough of her cup to trade her social programming for the program of the man she's dealing with and get on his program. That's what you got to do to be feminine and submissive. A wise woman is stupid for the right man. These are just some things to understand. And I always say that, and that throws people off. Like, what does it mean a wise woman is stupid for the right man? You find a man who you're willing to follow, and then you follow him. Not as an equal. And people want to jump with that equal stuff. The reason I say not as equals because you can be equal in inherent value, but it doesn't mean that you're equal in your position. Like, when a man has a plan, a man has his program, that's like his martial art. He's a sensei. The relationship is his dojo, and you're a student. You're starting at a white belt. You work your way up. Now you start as a white belt, you work your way up. And when you get a black belt, you're over everyone else. But that still doesn't make you over the master, because the master's still growing and learning himself. But his mindset, his ideology, the way he runs a relationship, that's his program. That's his martial art. You got to respect that. And because he's already spent time with that, the way he approaches you, the type of behavior that he accepts, the things he considers respect and disrespect, the type of sex he likes to have, the way he likes things done, the way he likes you to respond to him. These different things that he can train you to love and enjoy, you have to have an open enough mind and enough in your cup, and to be lubricated enough in your feminine energy to not feel like that's something that is hurting the foundation of who you are as a person. Right? And if you desire him enough, some of these things will come naturally, right? If your cup is full enough, certain these things he won't really even have to tell you, unless he just brings it up and it kind of just plants a seed that makes it happen. He's not going to have to tell you, know what? I like my dick sucked in the morning when I wake up. He may just tell you one time, and then you're going to start thinking about it. Like, you know what? I really respect this man. I value him. He's sexy to me. And you know what? I really want him to have the best day possible because he makes me feel so good. He makes me feel like a woman. I just want him to have the best day possible. How can I make his day start good? You know what? I got an idea. Light bulb. And sometimes it's not even like, sometimes it goes even beyond that on an even more intrinsic level. See, that's the respect side of sexual desire. But then there's the primal, lustful side of sexual desire, which is you just crave that man's dick in your mouth. It's just something about when it's in your mouth that it's filling a certain hole. It's just doing something for you. Some women can even have orgasms from giving head alone when they with a man who they're really sexually attracted to. So you just take selfish pleasure out of it, as well as an ego boost out of it. So he doesn't have to tell you all the time, well, nah, bitch, come here, suck dick right now. And the funny thing is this, when you feel that way about a man, and you have that type of sexual attraction and respect for him, he can literally tell you that, come here, bitch, suck some dick. And that will get you wet as fuck, right? Dripping down your leg. that you have a man who you respect and desire enough that when he talks to you in that way, it doesn't do anything but turn you on. And you're like, oh no, daddy's talking. I gotta do what he say. No, it doesn't feel controlling if he wants to fuck with you, right? You'll be out with your girls. He may not even know where you at, but you probably went out of your way to tell him because you just like to tell him different parts of your day. Not being controlling, he hits you up, says, I'm trying to give you this dick. Instead of it feeling like he's trying to control you by telling you to come home earlier than you want to, you're going to be like, fuck these bitches. I'd rather get some dick than be out here with these these lonely, dusty ass females. I love y'all heifers, but I'm gone. And then you be gone because you want to be gone. That's where you want to be. You want to be up under daddy. That's not being controlling. Let's say you're having a bad day. Wouldn't you like to be in a relationship where no matter what mood you're in, dick makes it better? Right? This is the part where people say it's manipulative, right? The part where people say it's manipulative is this, to a certain extent, or toxic. If you are having a bad day, a bad mood, you are having an argument, if he tell you to shut the fuck up and it turns you on, or if y'all fucking, right? If you're having a bad day, the dick makes the day better. If you're having a good day, the dick is the cap on it. If you're hungry, you eat some dick. If you're sleepy, the dick can make you sleep better. Or it'll help you wake up, right? It's a drug, like smoking weed. People who smoke weed, they'll smoke because they woke up in the morning. They'll smoke because it's time to eat. They'll smoke because they're not hungry. They'll smoke because they're ready to go to sleep. They smoke for whatever reason at whatever time. And that's the way you'll feel about him because he'll become a drug to you. And there's certain things that come with that. Certain things that come with that is that you will have an extra source of motivation and willpower where you don't have it. When you see a man as an equal, if you don't want to do something, he tell you not to do it, then it's still kind of up to choice, But if he has a plan and you have a plan and your willpower is wavering, he can make you stick to it. One time I seen a woman and her mother was on her vegan diet for a month. She was about to end her vegan diet early. Her daughter came in, saw she was about to eat some ribs, and Mom, don't eat that. And she was like, no, I'm just about to eat some of this. I can't do this no more. Her man came in, masculine dominant man, said, put that down. Didn't say nothing back. Put the shit down. Extra bit of, motivation. That same breaking down your beliefs in your social programming to insert his own program, lubricating you, penetrating you, changing your environment, your surroundings, giving you pleasure. That's that same thing that can happen also. Planting his seed in you and you giving birth. That's the same thing that can happen when he places his vision inside of your eyes, and then you start seeing his vision through your eyes as an us thing, to where I want us to thrive, I want us to prosper. Instead of us having two completely different missions, we can both hone in on this one mission, or this thing as a family, right? We can hone in on this thing and we can knock this out and we can get this done together because I'm his. And you take an employee mentality and you really come there to work. But if you got a man who knows how to lead, a man who's masculine and dominant, he's going to reward your work, your good behavior, all these things. See, he's going to listen to what you say. Instead of you fighting to be heard, you just talk. And you know that he's listening, and that the things that benefit the overall plan, because you may not like to think long term with every little moving part, he's going to understand those things, and he's going to add the things that benefit the program into the program that you desire, because you've earned your spot, you've earned some tenure. So your dreams, while you're helping him trying to push his passion forward, he may incorporate your dream into his passion, or he may start pushing you to learn more, to discipline yourself, to learn some things concerning your passion, to put you in contact with some people who can help you. He may be in a position to help you himself. Start getting you to do some things you may have been procrastinating for some years, and really open your eyes up to different things. Helping you get more real with yourself about your spirituality. Helping you get more real with yourself about your health. Helping you get more real with yourself about your fitness. Just depending on whatever area you may need some help in. You're going to see ways to improve you. A good man is going to leave you better than he found you. A masculine dominant man is not just going to fuck you up. The only way you get fucked up dealing with a masculine dominant man is if you're playing on the fence and your cup is too low to question your beliefs for real, and you don't submit yourself to that man, so you're being combative. And then you kind of try to play it just as close to the line as you can, and then you cross the line with disrespect. Then you get your feelings hurt. Then you got to deal with separation anxiety because he might be done dealing with you. You deal with anxiety, feeling like you're walking on eggshells, because instead of thinking about how can I make this man happy, you're thinking of how can I not get in trouble, right? Instead of thinking, how can I best show him that I appreciate him, you're thinking, okay, let me not do this or say this type of way. Some of those things just naturally come with respect and desire. Certain things you don't do when you respect people on a certain level as an authority. Certain things you just don't do. And when you feel that way about a man, there's certain things you won't do, and if you do it, he'll check you, and then you'll respect him enough to not combat him, to not try to interject how you feel about it and say, well, I feel like I should be able to do and saying this. No, you're not going to do all that, because you already know the nigga right. And you know that he's not going to sit there and receive you being masculine or combative with him, thinking that you're going to get him to change anything that he thinks or believes or does, because he's already sat and thought of these things that he believes and that he stands on, right? And if the things that you say have credence, he'll put some thought into it. He may not tell you right in that moment, but he'll put some thought into it, and if it has some credence, he may do it, right? But he's not going to do it when you're coming at him from a place of disrespect already. It's not going to happen. When your cup is too low, you desire a beta male. What does that mean? You're going to try to get beta male shit from an alpha male. You're going to try to get soft, feminine nigga shit from a dominant masculine man. A dominant masculine man can love on you. A dominant masculine man can take you out. A dominant masculine man can treat you well. A dominant masculine man can make you feel like a beautiful woman, but he's not going to do it if you don't deserve it. Because if you're not getting with his program, you're showing him how you feel about him. And by showing him how you feel about him, you put him in a position to where you can't progress and get promoted past where you are, right? So then you put yourself into a position and you back yourself into a corner, right? You back yourself into a corner like that. And what I mean by backing yourself into a corner is that you're creating self-fulfilling prophecies about the things that you're afraid of. A lot of the things you may be afraid of when your cup is low are really just things that you would naturally do with a masculine dominant man that you have a high level of respect and sexual desire for. And sometimes that respect and desire level is just based off of the man or how he approached you. And sometimes if you prematurely integrated, it's just based off of the fact that you prematurely integrated. Some of it may be just the fact that you have a high level of social programming and you don't have enough in your cup to be able to question yourself without that tearing at the fabric of who you are as a woman. So every time somebody says something that goes against that social programming, if it turns you on, you might give in the moment, But afterwards, you're going to sit back and think to yourself, like, I really failed God. I really failed my friends. I really failed my family members. I really failed so many people. I failed. I'm a failure. Now you're depressed. Now you're sad. Now you're in a position where you're feeling inner turmoil. Right? It's because the tap is run dry. If you try to pour something out of that tap when there's nothing in it, you will damn near implode. You know what I mean? That's the thing about it. You will run dry. You'll bleed out. And when you bleed out, eventually you become bitter. You start having mental issues. When you bleed out, now you're in a position to where you have to have a Madonna whore complex or a gentleman gigolo complex. When you bleed out, you probably had that before the cup got too low, but you get to a point where you damn near just gotta go celibate, or you gotta become an attention whore, or something. You gotta do something to get something back in that cup. But when you're dealing with a dominant masculine man and your self-esteem is too low, your security is too low, you're not a secure person, that shit will eat at you. And you won't be lubricated enough to enjoy things the way they could be enjoyed. Like, one example of it is like this. Let's say you're dealing with a man who deals with multiple women. Some women, they get off on knowing that they have a man who is so sexually desirable that he has options of women to sleep with, and that turns her on. And from a distance, it'll turn you on too, knowing that he has those type of options. But when you get up close to it, then you're going to feel insecure. You're going to feel insecure because this particular man, you feel like you can't have him all to yourself right now. You just met the nigga, right? Or you've been fucking with him for a little while. You're not up to his standards. Like, this is what I mean by filling his cup to an adequate place. You can't meet that man's sex drive by yourself. Not that you won't, it's that you can't. You might even be sexually attracted to him. You might even desire him. You might even enjoy sex. But the sex might be great, but you don't have enough in your cup, because sexual desire pours out of your cup. So you don't have enough libido, feminine energy, to meet his needs. So he has to deal with other women. And for him to prematurely decide, without you meeting those needs, that you are the one woman he should to do that with, it puts him in a situation to where he will start requiring more of you. See, when you get promoted, as you get promoted, more is required of you, or more has been invested by you already. And as more has been invested by you, that's how you climb up the levels. See, women will look at this level shit and they'll get mad, but the truth is this. What percentage of this man's needs are you able to meet? And why should he put you in a position when you can't meet his needs? You know what I'm saying? Why should he put you in that position of being his main woman, his only woman, his wife, when you haven't even proven that you two can be sexually compatible exclusively over an extended period of time? Why should he do that? You haven't shown him that you know how to shut the fuck up and follow his lead when it's necessary. So why would he put you in his life as a business partner to move forward with when he's the one who has the vision? And you fight him on every little thing. Why would he do that? You know? If you want to have kids, and you want a relationship where you have kids, and you don't know how to cook consistent meals, or control your budget, or take his influence and his advice to work in your budget, to make sure that the household can be sustained, and that he has a partner in sustaining that, then why would he promote you to that position just to add more stress to his life? If spiritually you have certain beliefs that you're not even willing to look into and question, and you question his beliefs, then that's like a house standing against itself. Then how is he going to move forward, especially if his vision includes spirituality? What does a man look like if he's a preacher and his wife goes to a different church? That hurts his credibility. So why would he go to the next level with you if you aren't willing to sit under him and learn, especially if you're not as experienced, if you're not as studied, if you're not as well versed? It's good dick and guidance. One aspect of guidance does have to do with spirituality. If that's not something that's important to him, it's important to you, and how you practice that doesn't conflict with your relationship, cool. But what's that going to do when it comes to the kids? These are some things you got to think about. Some things that have to be thought about. That whole belt system, it's funny, but it's just like, but it's some real shit, that martial art thing. He has a plan and a vision for his life and things he wants to do moving forward. And he needs somebody who's going to be an asset and not a liability. He needs somebody who's going to make that process quicker or easier, more efficient. And he can't do that if you two are going to spend more time fighting with each other than fighting against the world, fighting against the system. And that's why masculine women who have real low cups and they have to protect themselves from masculine energy, big hard pussy, big hard dry pussy, because they're too sensitive to masculine energy. They have to deal with feminine men, and then they have to lead. But guess what? Leading is something that, for most women, it will wear down on them, and it will further hurt their respect for the man, which will further hurt their desire for the man. So yes, now you're in the lead, but you don't even want the man who's allowing you to lead. See, leading is part of what can fill a woman's cup sometimes, but it's the same thing to where it'll wear a woman down. It'll wear a woman down feeling like she has to lead everything. And then it'll turn into, aren't you supposed to be the man? Aren't you supposed to know this stuff? Aren't you supposed to do this? Aren't you supposed to do that? Because you don't even respect the man, so now you going to talk to the nigga crazy. Now you going to be talking back. And then that man is going to sit there and be overly emotionally empathetic, sympathetic, understanding, acting like a little bitch with his tail between his legs. Because he don't want to miss out on the pussy. You know what I'm saying? Just like you. If you're feminine submissive, you don't want to miss out on the dick, but now he don't want to miss out on the pussy. So you do whatever you say, but it's making you respect him even less. See, part of the reason why I say that a man should take the dominant leading position is because a woman being feminine and submissive is like a pussy being wet. Wet and emotional, form-fitting and clinging. These different things that a vagina does, some good pussy does. Those things are attractive attributes in a woman. A woman who defers to you, a woman who follows your lead, a woman who seeks your guidance, a woman who desires you heavily, a woman who leans on you for your understanding, a woman who craves to be dominated by you, a woman who craves to feel like you're something bigger that she's a part of, a woman who craves to feel your masculine dominant energy like a drug that gets her high on a regular basis. A woman that craves you to stretch that pussy out. A woman who craves for you to discipline her because she's been a bad girl. A woman who craves these different aspects. A woman who craves for you to control and guide different aspects of her life. To teach her things. A woman who craves for you to give her these intense experiences that push her limits and her boundaries because you're the only one who she trusts, and desires and respects enough to see that truly vulnerable side of herself. A woman who values the fact that you know her better than she knows herself, because then she can trust your leadership. When a woman's cup is too low, you knowing her better than she knows herself, she may not like that. And she may fight with the things that you know about her that she doesn't know. And some people say that's arrogant to say you know somebody better than you know themselves. Listen, I do sex and dating coaching. Most people's issues be damn near very similar. People are more alike than they're different. So as a man, when you understand women and you understand how men relate to women, it's a different type of understanding. You're on a different level. Then, because women are born with game. Women are born and socially conditioned to have the ability to manipulate and weed out the beta males so that they can have a long-term provider. Women are trained and conditioned and socially programmed and wired to be able to sort out between dominant men and feminine men. Dominant men and submissive men. They are built to separate the difference, right? Just like V can equal V. Vagina often equals value, right? So I'm gonna bring this shit full circle. Like, vagina equals value, but penis equals provision or power. Provision or power. The same thing happens with a man's masculine energy. I hope I didn't lose my train of thought. But the same thing happens with a man's masculine energy. So vagina equals value. A woman's born with game. It's inherent value. It's inherent game. And it's the same game for most women, with some slight variations based off of the archetypes and the circumstances and the nature and nurture and all that. But a man's game is something where most men are going to be goofy, right? Most men are just going to do whatever the woman says so they can get a little ass. But the men who have game, right? Just like I said, provision or power. Some men have game, and the men who have game, it's like a man who has penis power. Good dick is more valuable than good pussy. It is. Because so many pussies are good that how attractive the woman is means more to the man than how good the pussy is a lot of the time. That's why I talk about women's sexual attraction versus men's attraction to women on that scale, right? So when we look at it from there, we jump to the idea of a man is either provision or power, which means either he's a beta male provider or he's a masculine dominant man. And when you have game as a man and you understand the nature of women, your mind is above that of a woman who has her natural built-in game, or even a woman who took time to learn game. Because a woman's game is not going to help her. Because if her mindset is to win the game, she's already losing. Because a woman who outsmarts her own man is a woman who's with a man who she doesn't respect already. She already lost. A woman is not competing with no alpha male. A woman is competing with beta males or dudes who she sees as beta males, or she wouldn't be competing. When women compete with alpha males, they get their feelings hurt, right? Or sometimes they do that Me Too shit. But sometimes when women compete with alpha males, some shit that might happen sometimes is that he's just gonna walk away because he's not about to compete with no woman, or he sets her in her place. And then she'll start feeling like that's abuse. She might start feeling like that's bad. A woman can't truly win the game. She wins by getting a masculine dominant man who stays a masculine dominant man, and then she earns the treatment that she desires. That's when a woman truly wins. That's why I teach the same thing to women that I do to men. I don't even switch it up. That's when a woman wins. A woman doesn't win, like, it's just like the king and queen system. Patrice O'Neal. If a woman can be a queen, right? And her husband is just the queen's husband. A man can be a king and make any woman a queen. Or he can make any woman of class of value to him a queen, because she's his wife. She becomes the queen. Being the queen's husband doesn't make you a king. And a woman's not winning unless she has a king. If she can beat you, you're not a king. Therefore, a woman can't win the game. Because the moment she wins, You have now been placed under submission to her, and you've lost your rank of being a king. That's premature integration. So that's just something to think about. Men run this game. The men who have game, they run the game. And those are also often, a lot of times, some of those men be the ones who benefit off the backs of the beta males and the feminists. But that's kind of two different sides of the game, but that's just some shit to understand. So when we're talking about cup theory, we might end it here. I might do it again, but I got to figure out what I'm going to title this. It's going to be cup theory. The breaking point. Whatever it is. I'm going to figure out some type of title and I'm going to put it on this shit. It's Brody, I'm out.